Hey, welcome back to another episode of the CPaaSAA Talks. My name is Rob Curver. I'm the founding partner of CPaaS Acceleration Alliance, and I'm here with Eddie and Henry from Shush and GSMA. And the reason we're recording this and we're making having this discussion is that this week, Eddie, you pushed out a press release and you talked about silent authentication in your platform as a big announcement. So tell us a little bit about it. Why is this a big deal?
It's a big deal because it's using a GSMA standard TS.43 on revision 11. This is what we consider, my chief product officer loves to say, it's the holy grail of authentication. It's ubiquity. It's ubiquitous. It doesn't matter what network you're on. If you're on Wi-Fi, satellite, mobility, you will be authenticated, but it takes it a step further. It's authenticated down to the SIM card. So the SIM card is talking to the network doing the authentication. This is, like I said, it goes back to this is ubiquity. So simple, seamless, silent, and now ubiquitous, right? So the challenge the industry has in general is, what do you do when you're on Wi-Fi? Like, how do you authenticate? Do you kick them off the Wi-Fi network and back onto mobility? Well, this, you don't have to do anything. It's just there. And it uses a GSMA standard. So, the ability that it allows the subscriber to, they're going to do the consent, right? So consent based, right? They're going to authenticate for that mobile device, that mobile application, banking, fintech, whatever, utilizing a true network standard that allows them to authenticate. We're super excited about this. It's just an amazing opportunity for the mobile operators to also monetize part of that, and it works seamlessly with Open Gateway and Camara and mobile MSISDN to IP matching. So it's just there. It completes that circle. We're very excited about it.
May. So tell us a little bit more about that TS.43 Release 11 GSMA standard and why it's so important.
Yeah, TS.43 has been around for a bit. It's been around for a decade. And I think, as Eddie alluded to, the best part of this is it uses the SIM and eSIM authentication mechanisms to authenticate the end user, the device. So any device that has an eSIM component in it, we can authenticate across the network. And it doesn't matter which bearer they're going across, whether it's a mobile phone going over Wi-Fi, mobile phone going over satellite, a mobile phone going over the fixed network somehow, or even the mobile network. What we can use TS.43 specifications and standards, just like we use to enable voice over Wi-Fi. So it was very difficult to authenticate the voice, going over the Wi-Fi bearer. How did we do that? We use EPA AC in the authentication process. And what we've done is standardize that out to other access barriers and other service types. So now we've got third-party apps being brought into the TS.43 standard on version 11 that allows for third-party apps on the device to actually say, can I authenticate this user? At the moment, it's very much applied around the number verification. So it's verifying MSISDN, but it can use it for others. But the great thing that has been developed in version 11 and 12 is there is a consent authentication based model, not only tokenization from the operator, so the token can be used as authenticated by the operator to say, yeah, I will allow this third party, I will allow this operating system to check the number and verify that number. That authentication then happens on the device and everyone's happy. It really does speed up the time it takes for enrollment. Think about application enrollments. So when you've got a new user, You want to identify them. Is this coming from a legitimate device, a legitimate mobile telephone number? You can very quickly just basically invoke TS.43 version 11 tokenization and number verification, and basically say, is this a valid user? And that specification, it's taken us about a year to get out there, and it's the realization that Shush is actually going, wow, this is a little bit of a game changer out there. So hopefully it gets more widely adopted across most of the channel partners that we see in Open Gateway.
Awesome. Eddie, it sounds so simple and so easy, right? It's there, the standard is there, but I imagine that you guys had to do something in your Sherlock platform to make it available to basically all your telco customers and through the end users and enterprises, right?
That's correct, right? So, like Henry said, EAPA, AKA is the gold standard of authentication, right? That's the gold standard. So there are some requirements more on the application side to take advantage of this, right? They're utilizing Sherlock. There's nothing a carrier needs to do. It's already there. It's G8. It's in Sherlock. It allows them to do it today. They don't have to upgrade their entitlement servers. They don't have to update anything on their end. It's just there. It just works. This is, all right, as the CEO and not an engineer anymore, because I failed at that too. So as a CEO, I like to say, oh yeah, it was super simple. My engineers may say something completely different, but the ability to make it work, the ability to get it tested, the ability to say, yeah, this can happen today. And I'm going, well, what about the entitlement server? Do we need to have them upgraded? No. What about this? What about that? What about, and these guys go, it just works. The GSMA wrote a very, very detailed standard requirements that we follow to the letter to allow for this to work, right? And that's what we did. So again, we have to be ubiquitous, right? So it doesn't matter what network you're on. There are a tremendous number of mobile carriers out there that have fixed wireless access networks that they have built, right? To do Wi-Fi for their home and fiber to the home, right? That it will work on. It, people use browsers all the time to log in, right? It works on browsers over any air interface, right? Application. So there's some changes that need to be upgraded in an application, but an application already upgrades all the time. So I mean, there is some work. But it doesn't happen right outside the box, but from a mobile network, envision it. It's available today. So it is available today for their people who are ready. That's the exciting thing about it.
That's really
And that's
cool.
a unique thing. That's a unique thing about how we created Sherlock, because Sherlock is truly the platform for the mobile network operator, so they can monetize, the network of open gateway network APIs, right? They can monetize it, but now you're monetizing the standards. There's no backdoor. There's no way anybody can do an end around. There's, this is the only way they can do this. And still monetize it. I don't want to say that this is the only, there's probably, I don't know, whatever else that's out there. I know Google Firebase has been pushing TS.43. That's how they want to authenticate. This will allow the mobile operator to allow them to interface, connect into their network, and monetize that traffic while they're protecting not only their network, but their consumers, right? It's all about, truly utilizing the standards and being able to utilize all the ubiquity, right? The open gateway Camara stuff. We don't want to forget that. We don't want to forget the aggregators that are out there working with all these enterprises out there, right? We don't want to forget those. We don't want to forget that the mobile network operator needs to not only protect their network, but protect their consumers from fraud and such. So it's just a win-win all the way around.
It sounds like almost too good to be true, right? And it's really the telcos coming together, right, with this standard to make life safer for consumers, easier for enterprises in a time where we really need that. Henry, is this how you guys set it up to be, or are you? I mean, I think this is the goal of GSMA, right?
It is the goal, and certainly interoperability across the ecosystem. And we're not just talking about operators, which Eddie's right. Operators are trying to ensure that they have a trust model with their customers who have signed contracts and require a level of service, if not regulation, around privacy and consent. So the operators are very mindful about that. But it opens it up to the channel partners like Shush and enablers like Shush. Very much they now can have a relationship, start to have a relationship with that customer that the operator knows that they can trust in what's actually happening. But also, more importantly, it brings together the operating system ecosystem players as well.
Yeah.
As part of the equation, and they have also their own trust, because very much there's a lot of security that they put into the applications that are loaded onto, or apps that are loaded onto the device. Google Play Store, App Store, just to name two. There's more out there, of course. They've already gone through a lot of certification sort of process, so they want to ensure that the third-party app is entitled to actually make the call on the customers and the end users' privacy requirements. So I see this as to be a critical moment by which we can start not only authenticating the customer, but also we can start using this mechanism as a privacy and consent type model. There are a lot of capabilities out there that I'm sure Eddie would like to get his hands on. KYC match, KYC fill in, they'll
We do
all
that.
require consent models. And this is a very quick, low latency method by which you can get that authenticated.
That's right.
Not only by the OS system, not only by the third-party app, but also by the operator, to ensure they're maintaining the privacy regulations within that local market where that device is.
Yep. And depending on the market, Rob, depending on the market, like the US, you are just in, right? There is no opt out, no opt in for specific things, especially number verification, right? That stuff exists, right? But in other markets, it's more challenging. There's no PII being transferred. When you authenticate yourself, right, you're consenting to the authentication as running the app and doing the login use case or whatever consent use case. But Henry's exactly right. Right? When you start getting into stuff that really needs true consent, location-based services, KYC matching, being able to authenticate that, yes, from the device through the SIM card to the network via EAPA, AKA, that is truly secure and encrypted, and all the beautiful things around that standard, right? Being able to just do that and tokenize it and everything that goes on from a technical standpoint, it just makes things that much quicker, that much faster.
It sounds like it sounds great, really, Eddie. I mean, congratulations with this
Thank you.
with this announcement and making this work. I'm looking forward to seeing.
Couldn't have done it without Henry and his team, right? And what the
Well,
guys did over at the GSMA. No, trust me, I've beaten Henry up more than once, but for me to actually thank him, it comes from the bottom of my heart, because what the GSMA did, and my incredibly smart team, understanding the stuff and working together. Yeah, no, there's a lot of kudos to go around, a lot of attaboys to go around, and it's truly, it's not me, it's all them.
And if I can interrupt, Eddie, I'm just one of the people in the GSMA. There are many who have actually supported this change.
Yes, exactly.
Not only the working groups from the operators, the terminal steering group, the networks group, they've all supported this change within the network. I would also just like to say that there's many opportunities out there, but operators need to think that they need to get to version 11 with their entitlement service to be able to support that. There are many channel partners as well as Shush that can help you with that transformation that you need. So there are more people out there making the statement, but Shush also has, with Sherlock, a solution for what you actually need in a network to be able to support this.
Yeah, and that's Henry. I can agree more. However, what we did at Sherlock is as they're moving up the release version of TS43 on their entitlement server, they can start now. There's nothing they need to do from our standpoint to make this work. Now, I can't talk about other providers out there that require TS43 release 11, but for Sherlock, it doesn't require 11. That's all I got to say. I mean, we do it. We adhere to the standard, but we do it slightly. We understand what needs to happen if they're not on release 11 or release 12. But a lot of the carriers have already moved way up the release schedule because of requirements of the network, from VoLTE to RCS, iOS, inner working, etc. That requires the upgrades anyway. But regardless, if they're not on release 11 or release 12, they can still utilize TS43 EAPA, aka authentication, today.
Okay, with that, thanks, guys. I think it's really exciting that standards that's been a couple years in the making is now really going to make our lives safer, easier. I love to get rid of all those pesky, handy manual, one-time password, whatever, and still live in a safe world, right? So this is a great step forward. Thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing how this rolls out.
Yep, excellent.
Thanks,
And
Rob.
again,
Thanks, Eddie.
thank you, Henry. Thank you, and Rob, and Henry. Thank the whole team over there, please.
Will do.
He said it again, Henry. He's just so happy. He's so grateful.
No, you know what? I love when things are done well. What can I say?
Good stuff. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.